Hey guys, what's going on? It's your girl LT here, Childfree LT. I have a very special guest with me today. I have Miss Latosha Johnson, and we're going to be discussing her Christian child-free life. And she is a speaker, a author, and also a Christian podcaster. So I wanted to bring her on my channel. How I first discovered Latosha was that I saw her YouTube video discussing why I chose a Christian child-free life. And I know I also have a lot of people who follow me who are also Christian as well. So it's nice to bring somebody on here who's also have those values and want to discuss that on my channel. So Latasha, if you want to introduce yourself to the audience, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Hey everyone, as LT mentioned, my name is Latosha Johnson. I'm a marketing professional and I'm a Christian podcaster, author, and speaker. And I'm really excited to be here today. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so grateful you're able to be on here. So yes, I'm so happy. Okay, so Latasha, for the very first question I'm going to ask is, how would you describe yourself as a child-free woman, and how has life been for you being child-free?
Yes, I have to admit it has been fulfilling and very freeing because it has allowed me the opportunity to pursue all of the things that God has called for me to do without the added pressure of having to take care of someone else. So yes, I would definitely have to say very satisfying and freeing, to be quite honest.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So what is your earliest recollection of either wanting kids or not wanting kids at all? Like, when did you realize that maybe being child-free was a lifestyle you wanted?
So I have kind of a funny story on this one. So my mom is my absolute shero. Okay, she is just my biggest cheerleader. Love her to death. And so I always wanted to follow directly in her footsteps. And so I thought I had to get married when I was young, just like she did, and have kids and follow literally. I was very naive in this, but I really thought I had to follow each step that she took in order to make sure that I was happy. And so as the years went by and I did not achieve those unofficial milestones, I was just like, what is going on? And I started like wondering, am I ever going to be happy? Blah, blah, blah. And I was complaining to my mom. I was having a pity party shortly before my 30th birthday. And I'll never forget, she kind of just snapped on me and she's like, stop it. Put God first. You are living my life.
Mhm.
And I was just like, oh, okay. So at that moment, that's when we had this really heartfelt conversation. Literally, she told me, yeah, your dad and I, we got married when we were young, we had you guys. But if I could do it all over again, I love you, but we wouldn't be having this conversation. She was so honest.
Wow.
And anyone who knows my mom, I mean, she's a little firecracker. I love her so much. She's very like fierce and bold and just so sweet at the same time. And she was honest. She told me the good and the bad. And she's like, Tasha, knowing your personality, knowing how you're built, how your personality is built, and knowing all the things that you want to do, you're so much like me. I just didn't know any better. And I
Mhm.
was just like, ooh. And that really hit me. Both my sister and I are both child free. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so my mom's honesty really changed the trajectory of my entire life because here's a fun fact. I didn't really want to have kids. I thought I needed to have them to be happy. I was very misguided and I didn't listen to all the clues my mom was trying to kind of point me towards throughout my life up until that moment. So that was on me for putting all that extra burden and stress because my parents never encouraged us to have kids. They wanted us to put God first and be happy. That
Mhm.
is what they wanted, and to make sure to help other people out along the way in
Mhm.
our journey. And that is what I did. And so I have no regrets. And I'm so glad we had that conversation because she just saved me from so much. Because otherwise, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now to do all the things that I'm able to do, to be quite honest.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. Um, so the next one is being from a Black culture. What is your positive or negative experiences being child-free around your family, friends, or your colleagues?
So, in terms of my family, awesome because again, I had very supportive parents. My father actually passed away when I was much younger, but yeah, my mom has always encouraged us to put God first and just live our lives and achieve all of our goals. Now, in terms of friends, I've got friends that have kids and friends that don't have kids. And in terms of from a culture perspective, it has been mixed reviews, but I don't care because my choice in how I live my life does not affect you in
Mhm.
any way, shape, or form. So
Mhm.
what someone thinks about me, I don't care. I really don't. Like if the picture, if you needed a picture in the dictionary of unbothered, my
Mhm.
photo would be right near that description because I just don't care. People are always going to have opinions, but their 2 cents mean nothing to me.
Mhm.
The only people who matter in my life are God and my mom. You know what I mean? Like they're the ones that I strive to really like, hey, what do you think? Other than that, if you're outside that window, I will take what you have to say with a grain of salt, but I'm not going to take it to heart, especially if it does not add value to my life, because I know what my calling is, and it wasn't a conference call. Like
Mhm.
God, to me, it was not a conference call, me, you, and like 50 other people. It doesn't matter. So,
Okay. Okay. So, did your parents ever drop hints about you wanting kids to you or your sister?
no, no.
Okay.
This is going to sound horrible, but I think I was very blessed not to come from because I know in our culture it really is ingrained. Oh, get married, have kids.
Mhm.
That was not the thing for us. Like
Mhm.
honestly, my parents were open to the marriage, but they were never really like, hey, get out there and have kids. That was never really talked about. And I think that's because some of the things that my mom shared with me, and I talk about some of this in my book, but I do believe a lot of that is because they themselves had kids when they were younger, and it it was a strain. They were still trying to figure out how to live life themselves, and they added two additional human beings to the mix, right? So
Mhm.
it took them a minute to get things together, and I really do believe that's probably part of the reason why that they never drop hints. They never did. I'm so blessed to have parents that were very supportive in our endeavors to stay child free. So yeah.
That's awesome. Like I especially when I talk to other people that I've interviewed on my channel, they will always say that, they've always had at least one parent that would tell, especially their moms will always say, when am I gonna get some grandbabies? So it's refreshing to hear somebody say that they never had that pressure,
Mm-mm.
that stress to be, to talk about having kids and stuff. So that's awesome. So
No, the only
um
stress that I have is my mom and I are like, she's my partner in crime when it comes to travel. So she's like, where are we going next? Like
oh, mhm.
that is what she wants to do. She loves to travel, so that is our thing.
Oh, okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, so we have some subscriber questions that I wanted to
Sure.
ask. So the first one is going to be, so we can discuss your Christian faith here. So how do you feel? How do you deal with the people that say we have to have kids to be fruitful and multiply? And how do you deal with those people who try to change your mind about having kids in the Christian community?
Oh my goodness. The fruitful and multiply verse, I have heard that so many times, and this is my response to that because it just drives me insane.
Hmm.
That verse pertained to Adam and Eve.
Hmm.
We are now 8 billion people on this planet, okay? We got plenty of folks. We've got a
Hmm.
lot of people. That command was to Adam and Eve. And when Jesus came on the scene, that changed everything. And guess what? Jesus was
Hmm.
single and child free, was he not?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
we're supposed to
Right.
be like him. Nothing
Hmm.
wrong with marriage, no shade to marriage in any way, shape, or form. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, if we're supposed to be like Christ, he was single and child free. And Apostle Paul talks about in First Corinthians chapter 7 how being single is a gift.
Hmm.
So again, I tell people if you want to be, married, have kids, do you. But
Hmm.
that do not project that onto me because I will not accept it. And I truly do believe a lot of folks, this don't sound harsh, but I truly do believe a lot of folks that project that verse are really, they found out the hard way that's not what they wanted to do. And now misery loves company, and you want to put me into the mix. And it's like, no, no, listen. I love kids, but I am self-aware that that is not my jam. I don't want to do that. And so that is how I combat with that answer. And in terms of folks in the Christian community that, what they have to say, at this point, that is part of the reason why I wrote this book, because I got tired of answering the same, in my opinion, very stupid questions.
Yeah.
Because again, my choice does not affect you. And if you really do some soul searching and really read the verses in the Bible, a lot is leaning more towards child free and
Mhm.
single, not
Mhm.
towards what you are trying to project. So that's how I would go about answering that.
Okay. So, how do you approach dating in an environment where children are mostly expected?
I approach dating if we are aligned from the standpoint, if he wanted to have kids, I am very upfront. I am not having any kids.
Mhm. Yeah.
I am not. I'm not
Mhm.
into playing games. I'm very upfront about that because I don't want to, I don't want to be one of those people that's like, 3 months in and hey, now all of a sudden I have that discussion. No, I'm very upfront. I love my freedom. I have no desire to have kids, and I'm very upfront about that. And
Mhm.
it's kind of funny. And I'm fully prepared to be single. Like if I never met someone, I'm cool. If I met someone that aligned with my values, that's great too.
Mhm.
But I am very upfront about that because I relish my freedom. I have a lot of goals that I want to accomplish, and I am not going to slow down or have any unnecessary sacrifices just because he may want to have kids. That's why I'm very upfront about that.
Okay. And what is your source of joy in your life as a child-free woman? So I think I kind of already know that answer. I know God's
Ooh.
your source. Your joy for that. So yeah.
Yeah, oh my goodness. God is the source that has provided me with my freedom. I have the ability to pursue all my different hobbies that I thoroughly enjoy. I study Spanish, I like to travel, podcasting, writing, all of these different avenues that I have because I'm very creative, but I'm also type A. So when I'm into a project, I really want to dive in 100%. There have been times I've been you know, my eyes are hurting and I'm like, oh, it's 2 a.m. and I'm still editing, but it's something that I enjoy.
Hmm.
So, these are things that are difficult to do if you have kids. I don't want to have that pressure of feeling like I'm failing, in terms of child rearing because I
Hmm.
wanted to work on my passion. You know what I mean? So I don't want to have that split in my priorities. I want to have that ability to really just focus on having my freedom. So,
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned earlier when I asked you about the dating question. I'm glad you mentioned that you let the people know up front and early
oh yeah,
because, yeah, I'm the same way too. Because I've had a couple of friends in the past that didn't want to have kids as well, and they would date somebody that did want children, but because they were afraid to be alone, they didn't want to start over with a new person in another relationship and things like that. They didn't want to be single for a long time. They just kept that relationship going until they finally had that talk, like, hey, their partner finally sat them down saying, hey, when are we going to start a family? And they're like, okay, well, listen, I don't want to have children. And it's like you wasted 5, 6, 7, 10 years of your life now
yes,
because you're no longer together. So I think it's super important to let people know early on. If you could let them know prior to even becoming official as a couple, that that's where you stand. Like, where do you stand on marriage? Where
yep.
do you stand on children? Like, that's a very big, topic to discuss for them. So I just really wish that people were more open to being honest in the very beginning. I think that's super important. So.
Don't waste people's time. I don't ever want to wait. I don't want someone wasting my time, and I don't want to waste someone else's time. You got to be respectful of people's time.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Um, so what are your thoughts and views of procreation, like IVF, surrogacy, or adoption?
So, in terms of IVF and surrogacy, in my opinion, you are adding unnecessary pressure to yourself.
Mhm.
And I feel like if you really, really want to have kids, there are kids already here on earth waiting for a home. So I feel like, if your desire is to truly have children, just to adopt, there are
Mhm.
to me, that seems like more of a win-win. You've got someone here that really wants to have a family. You want to have a family and you can provide that family. So why not just go that route? That's how I feel about that.
Okay. Um, so we've heard of, I'm sure you've heard different child-free stereotypes in the past about, like for example, saying that we hate kids or, any kind of stereotype about being child-free. So what type of child-free stereotype do you not fit in?
I don't fit in I'm sure you probably heard this, the I hate kids. I don't
Hmm.
know where that came from. All of a sudden, that if you're child free, that you hate kids. That could
Hmm.
not be furthest from the truth. I love kids.
Hmm.
But I'm also pro freedom. I love my
Yes.
time. I'm
Hmm.
pro peace and freedom of my time. That is what I want. And I actually mentor kids, and I'm in a position to have more time and energy, in my opinion, to do so because I don't have my own children.
Hmm.
So that is a stereotype that I really hate, and I think it's very easy for people to say that because, oh, well, then you should have had them. And it's like, no, I'm very self-aware. I'm not going to be selfish and bring a child into this world that I have no desire to have, not trying to burden myself with unnecessary pressures of trying to make sure that I sacrifice everything so they
Hmm.
can have everything that they need. I'm self-aware. But
Hmm.
I still love kids. You can
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
both can exist. Both can exist. I don't know why that's so difficult for people to realize.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay. So some people may think that if you do not have kids by a certain age, that there's something wrong with you. So how do you respond to that kind of question?
Yes. So I am 43
Hmm.
and I do not have any kids. Obviously, I'm on this channel for that. But
Hmm.
the way to respond to that is God knows my prayer. My
Hmm.
desire was always to live an extraordinary life. And this is the path that he sent me down. So mystery solved.
Hmm.
Okay. I have there's no regret. You can think what you want. It's me that's living my life. And I thoroughly enjoy my life. And anyone who knows me knows that I enjoy my life. So I I that's all I can do. I'm not sitting up here trying to convince someone, oh, I don't think she's really, no, I wear my feelings on my sleeve. You know what I'm saying? I am an open book. I am happy. When I say that I'm happy and I don't have any regrets, I truly do mean that because I wouldn't have been able to accomplish all the things that I've accomplished if I
Hmm.
had kids. I'm just being completely honest.
Hmm. So, so there's a lot of conversation about legacy. So, which I feel that legacy is more towards men than women. So, how is your, or what would your legacy be like?
My legacy is hopefully people realize that, okay, Tasha accomplished her goal in putting God first and helping out as many people as she could. My desire is to make an impact in helping more women analyze, apply, and amplify their God-given gifts. That is my legacy. And I've been doing that through the Hustle and Faith podcast. I've been doing that through my books. I've been doing that through my workshops. Whenever I mentor people that I come across, that is my legacy. A legacy to me, to just boil that down to having kids is I think that's really limiting. Okay. I really do. There's more than one way to have a legacy. And here's the thing, even if you have kids and you view them as your legacy, what is it that they accomplished? What is it that you accomplished? I mean, anyone could kind of go out there and have kids, but what have you done yourself? Does
Hmm.
that make sense? Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess growing up in church, like I grew up in church as well. So, sometimes it does for me get a little hard to talk about being child free with certain people because I think a lot of people have a very old school mindset when it comes to that. It's like, okay, well, you're a woman, that's what you're on this earth for, or that's what God wants you to be. It's like, how do you know what God wants for me? Like, that's not a discussion I'm sure He had with you. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad that I had a Christian child-free person on my channel because I think that's super important to have. I definitely want to have different variety of people on here, but I'm glad that somebody of a Christian faith was on here because I know, especially like I mentioned about the being fruitful and multiply question, that we hear that a lot in the Christian faith, and then sometimes it's like there's other ways to be fruitful and multiply when it comes to that topic. So, there's plenty of celebrities who are child-free, but they're doing great things. They're able to build businesses, they can employ people, things like that. They can devote their time into helping with other things around the world and stuff. So it's just, there's benefits to being child free because we can devote our time and being fruitful in other ways in the world.
I talk about that a lot too. And I've actually got a whole upcoming series devoted to singlehood and how churches should really be ministering towards singles
Hmm.
and also empowering single women to not feel pressured into just grabbing any old body and
Hmm.
settling down and having kids. There are
Yeah.
other avenues out there. God has called all of us to have a unique calling and purpose in our lives. And there's quite a few of us that do better as child free
Hmm.
and even take it one step further, single and child free.
Hmm.
So, you cannot allow people to project whatever they're feeling onto your life because that's going to mess you up. Again, what God told me to do, it wasn't a conference call. So,
Absolutely. So, okay. All right. My last question. So, what advice would you give a young man or a woman who is on the fence about having children, but they may be getting pressure from society or family?
don't do it. Just don't.
Hmm.
Don't. If you are already, "Ooh, I don't know if I should do this," okay, because this is not a test that you can just, a test that you can take with a pencil and just erase the wrong answer, right? Like you
Hmm.
can't go back in time and erase your mistakes. Once the child is here, they are here. And
Hmm.
it's your responsibility to take care of that child. They didn't ask to be born into this world, and it's very unfair to expect your grandparents, the so-called village of folks to come in and help you raise the child that you yourself were not sold on the fact that you should have. So if you are on the fence, I am telling you right now, do not have that child because that's not going to be fair for you or to that child. So that is the advice I would give.
Oh, that's awesome. Well said. I'm so thankful for that. So, like I said, I'm just so grateful that I was able to have this conversation with you because I know I have some people in my subscribers who are also Christian and they wanted to have somebody on here to discuss, the faith and just to make sure that just discussing the child-free journey and the Christian faith. So, I'm so happy to have you on here and I really appreciate your time. What I'll do is I'll put all of your information in the description box. I'll put the Why I Choose a Christian Child-Free Life also. I'll put that video in the description box as well. So people can also follow you on your YouTube channel and they can watch that video as well. So before we go, I'm going to give you your time to shine. So anything that you want to promote, anything you have going on, your YouTube channel, Instagram, anything like that, social medias, you can also let us know about that too.
Fantastic. So you can find me at Hustle and Faith on all of my social media channels. I'm pretty much everywhere under the Hustle and Faith brand. And I actually published a book called How to Live an Extraordinary Life with or Without Mr. Right, a Christian woman's guide on how to survive and thrive on single avenues. So I recently published that book. So that book is in hard copy, paperback, available wherever books are sold. And then I also have an upcoming workshop that's called Empowered and Single. Finding joy in your journey. So that's coming up on November. Yeah. Yeah. All the details are on my website because I don't want to mess up the date, but
Okay.
I just went blank on the date, but that is
Mhm.
on the website. So if you want to check me out at hustleandfaith.com, that is the podcast. And then the webinar that I just discussed is on with or without MrRight.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Latasha. I really appreciate your time. And thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you so much for your time as well. Please make sure that you follow Latasha on all her social media platforms. Go ahead and get her book and everything. I'll put all her information in the description box as well. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, video ideas, or anything you want to let me know of, please send me your email request to childfreelt@gmail.com. So Latasha, thank you so much again for your time. Give this video a thumbs up, you guys, please. And thank you so much. Thank you. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'll check you guys out in my next video. Bye, guys.